Hey guys, it's Ola here again, and I'm sure you've heard recently that Livewire 4 just dropped, and today we want to look at the new updates. What are the new features? What has changed? Is it going to be good for us? Is it going to be bad for us? Are you going to use it? So let's jump right into it. So firstly, we're just going to go through an overview of the new changes, and maybe in later videos I'll be going deeper into each change and actually maybe do a little walk around so you can actually see how it works. But right today we're just going to look at it and look at the new changes. Okay, so if you notice on your on the website, on the official website of Livewire right now, which is livewire.laravel.com, you notice here now you have version 4. Right, so let's get to version 4. All right, so quick starts. Remember, I'm just going to be running through some things. You need Laravel version 10 and all of that. So this is a command now to get version 4. Keep in mind that it is still in the beta, so you have to put version 4 at beta. Okay, so if you notice, the route has changed. Before you used to have route get, now you have route Livewire. We'll still go into details on that as well. Okay, so the upgrade guide would show us what has changed and how we can implement that. All right, this is installation. So after installation is you run this command, Artisan command. Right here. So now you have 3 tiers of changes. You have the high impact changes, you have the medium impact changes, and then you of course you have the low impact changes. The high impact changes are for things like the layouts, the placeholders, wire key, and routing routing. Okay, so let's look at that. First of all, the configuration. Now, before you used to have your layouts, you have layout and then you have components.layout.app. If you remember that in Livewire 3. But right now in Livewire 4, it's different. You have to put this double colon in here right now. You have to put double colon in here. Let me see if they can make it bigger for you. Okay. You have to put a double colon in here. Then for the placeholders, it has also changed. This was how it is before, right? When you were doing lazy, this was how it is before. Right now, this is how it is. This is another change. These are high impact changes that you might need to actually go and modify on your code. So going to wire key. Now, the thing with wire key now, before, when you had loops, when you were looping through an array, right, you had to manually put wire key in there just so like Livewire can keep track of each of the items or iterations or the arrays, each of the pockets in the arrays, right? But right now you don't necessarily need to do that because Livewire 4 does that for you by default. It says here this enables automatic intelligent wire key generation for loops, reducing the need for manual wire key. It does not necessarily mean you might not need to add it, but it just reduces the need. So in most cases, or rather in most use cases, you might not need to add that to it. Okay, and we'll go into details in maybe following videos coming up. Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to mention is for Livewire components now, they have this lightning icon for the version 4, and these are some of the things that Caleb spoke about in during the last Laracon. I think, was it the last Laracon? I think the last major Laracon. Let's use that in case I missed another Laracon. So he spoke about this, and then he also spoke about co-locations, which we'll get to in a moment, right? So next, we're going to talk about the changes in our routes, how we call our routes, how we write our routes. Before, you in Livewire 3, you have route get, which I'm sure a lot of people know. So route get, you have the name, and then you have the class that is going to, right? Makes sense? That's Livewire 3. Then, but in Livewire 4, it now changes to route Livewire. Now, this enables you to use single page application or rather a full page component more easily. I don't know what they mean by that, but that's what they said, right? So instead of Livewire, route get, you have route Livewire. So, but when we go into details, you're gonna see more of it. I'm just gonna touch upon the major things, like I said. So it's still the same thing, but you just change the get to Livewire. You don't necessarily need to do any configuration for that. Then, if you have a single page, right? It says here now for view-based components. So if you have just like a single page, it doesn't have components or something, you can just use pages here. We'll also get to that later. So now you have pages and then you have layouts, right? Pages and then layouts. So we'll get to that. I'm just showing you the changes right now. Then now the medium changes that we have. This is also what Caleb spoke about in the last LaraCon, which is wire pull. Now, the idea behind this is that for version 3, right, if you had a pull and then it was pulling every 2 seconds or every 5 seconds or something, right, and making that request every 5 seconds, and someone wants to make another request, right, you tend to now have a bit of traffic because the poll is doing this request and then this other person or this user just fired a request, right? So you might get into a bit of traffic. But what happening now with Livewire 3 or Livewire 4 is that whenever someone or whenever a user makes a request, the poll request automatically stops. It will stop and wait for the user request to complete, it's done, and then it will resume polling. So this way you don't need to use complex JavaScript or use Alpine or whatever thing to try and stop the poll first, right? So it just does that automatically with Livewire 4, which I think it's great. If you use it, you definitely know it's great. Then you also have parallel live updates. Now this requests now run in parallel, allowing faster typing and quick results. I'll have to test that out, like I said, when we go deeper into it. Okay, now to the low impact changes. You can see it's mostly when you're doing advanced stuff, really, like when you're doing wire.js, maybe you want to write a JavaScript using a Livewire to do that. So before you have to put your targets in here in brackets like this and then write your function. But right now, instead of that, you just use a dot and then write your function. So that, which I think is cleaner in my opinion. I think this is cleaner, right? Then also you have the hook being deprecated here. Where you have this hook, it's now deprecated, so you don't use that hook anymore. So instead, this is what is recommended, should be replaced with the new intercept message, right? So this is what you use now for it. So this, I think you might not need unless you're writing something a bit more complex or a bit more JavaScript focused. You might need that one. Okay. What else is new? Okay, so that is out of the way. So what are the new features in Livewire v4? Like, remember I talked about co-locations for the pages, for layouts, right? And then I also talked about this icon here. So this icon will also appear in your Linux, will appear in your macOS, will appear in your Windows, right? Because it's actually a Unicode. So irrespective of your operating system, it's going to be there. So let's see. So by default, view-based components files are prefixed with this, like I told you. Emoji to distinguish them from regular blade. So you can easily detect this and know that, okay, this is a Livewire component. So by default, whenever you create a component, you know the way you create a component in Livewire, right? You have what's it called now? Before you have the component at the top, and then you have the view, the front end in the view, in the resources views, and then you have Livewire. You have it there. But right now, what they have done with Livewire 4 is that you now have it inline. So remember when you wanted to have this kind of like a vote file, but not really vote, right? We want to have inline such that you have the logic at the top and then the view at the bottom. And when you write this command, you now say dash dash inline to make this. But now they made this the default, which I think that some people might not like, and others might, welcome it, for people that are more um leaning towards the votes style of project structure and all of that. But I'm not so leaning towards that. Anyways, but something I find interesting, and I think I would most likely use, or at least try out, Caleb also spoke about this, is the co-locations, right? Having all your files that you need for a particular thing or a particular view in one location. So you can easily do that by putting this dash dash MFC. Now MFC simply means multiple file location, right? There's also another one you can do, dash dash SFC, which is single file location as well, which is this, I think, right? Then you can convert, you can change them. If you already have this first one, you can use this command and then change it to this one, and then vice versa. So in this, what you will have is that you have your view file, you have your view file, you have your component file, and then you have your component file, you have your JavaScript file, and then you have your what's it called now? And then you have your test file. Yes, you have your test file. So you have 4 files for this. So let's say you're doing dashboard, for example. So for dashboard, you're gonna have 4 files just for your dashboard, right? You're gonna have the components, you're gonna have the view, you're gonna have the JS, you're gonna have the test. But I think that the JavaScript file is usually going to be empty. So probably they should maybe have some sort of feature or something not to have the JavaScript file, because not a lot of people, especially if you're using Livewire, unless you're doing something advanced, you most likely might not need to write JavaScript or jQuery or something with JS file. Right, so I'll go in deeper for this. I'll go deeper for this later on, so you can see the file like I talked about. Right, I just want to breeze through. Another thing I like is islands, which actually Taylor actually, I said Taylor, sorry, Caleb actually spoke a great deal about in the last Laracon. Islands. So basically, what are islands? Islands allow you to create isolated regions within a component that updates independently, dramatically improving performance. So let's say you have a component file, right? And maybe there are lots of things going on, or maybe there's not really much going on, or you have a lot of static items or something, right? But there's a particular niche that's pulling a lot of data or something, but then you don't want to have to reload the whole component, right? You can just now have islands that work independently. So during page reloads or during polling, it's not trying to render the whole page. It will just get just that particular section, which is now the island, which I think it's a great feature. Okay, you also have this one here for, it says drag and drop, which is basically wire sort. This is for tables. I don't know if you've seen Power Grid, I think the table for Power Grid table, or maybe when you have to have a table and then you want to make it sortable. This one here kind of makes it easier to use or to sort with wire sorts here. So you just put your wire sorts here to let the view know that, okay, you're going to be sorting this, and then this is the particular column you want to sort with, right? You can, I don't know if you can have it on multiple columns, but currently you can have it here. So you just say wire sort, and then you put the item, and then the ID is going to be sorting with, and then maybe the name of the view. All right, which I think is great. You can do that. Also, wire intersect. They've made some changes to wire intersect. Remember when you can use wire intersect to do infinite loading, right? Infinite scroll, sorry. Now you have some modifiers that come with it. So you have once, you have mid, you have half, you have full. So these are some modifiers you can use. So once obviously fires the intersect just once and then doesn't do that again. I think these changes are cool. Okay, this is another one that I think it's a great feature to have, because if you've actually worked with a table that has over 1,000 records or 1,000 rows or 2,000 rows, and for example you want to have a modal for each of the rows, that let's say you want to be able to edit the rows and then you want to have it on the same page and then being able to edit it, that can be a hassle. Trying to target the specific role you're trying to get the updates, get the records for, and then edit it, right? But with the update they've done to YRF, you can easily just pass the ID of that particular role in your table, and then you can call it from here or use it to do something here. You see that? So I think this is a great feature. We'll obviously been going deeper in later videos, like I said. Okay, so it seems like we have another modifier here, which is renderless. So this is to skip components from re-rendering directly from the templates. We have this one here. I missed this one the last time I went through it. We'll obviously look at that later. So I think these are the major features that I think most people will be using. Okay, so if you come to the essentials, you see that there's a new link here that's only available for version 4, which is pages. Now, what are pages? Livewire components can be used as entire pages by assigning them directly to routes. This allows you to build complete applications using Livewire components with additional capabilities to custom layout pages and route parameters. So remember when I told you the route has changed? This is it here. To route a component, use the routes Livewire method in your route web file. When you visit specific URL, the components will be rendered as a complete page using your application's layout. But this seems like a break in change, but I don't think it should actually break your other. Obviously, I would not recommend you to jump right from version 3 to version 4 for your live applications. Please do not do that. Please do not do that. Actually do a lot of testing first before you think of making changes. All right, so component namespaces. You may have noticed pages here, like I told you, prefix in the route example above. Livewire automatically registers several component namespaces for better organization. So you have pages here, you have layouts, but I'm curious to see how the actual project structure is going to be, because my thought now is, okay, you're gonna have views and then pages, and then you're gonna have resources, views, and then layouts. So what then happens to co-locations? Yeah, that's my thought now. What happens to co-locations? All right, but anyways, I think we'll get to that. So these all work automatically. So let's say if you have a single page application or a single page file or just a normal front-end file, you might want to use it like this, maybe. I don't know. I'll do further testing and let you guys know how this would actually be working, because I'm struggling to wrap my head around it right now as I'm doing this video. All right, so I think I'm gonna later have a deep dive into all of this later on, or I might just keep it. So guys, this is pages, and we're going to be doing a deep dive in a follow-up video once I have actually had the chance to test this out, so I can give you my solid opinion on this without actually just speculating. but this is how it's going to look like. This is how you can call your route, or rather you assign your layouts to your components using layouts. So instead of the normal layout dot dashboard, you now have colon dashboard. Alternatively, you can use it like this, but it's still the same colon. I'm not sure why they opted to go that route. But let's see. Components rendered via routes will use your application layout by default. Livewire looks for a callout called Livewire app. Layout app located at here, which is fine. We understand that already. But why the colon app and why the colon pages? Are they necessary? Do we really need that breaking change? Do let me know in the comments what you think about this. But for me, in my opinion, I do not think that this has to be necessary. I know it's backward compatible, but do we really need all this? Because when you have all these views and pages, what happens to the co-locations? Are you saying this view is only for view pages without components, without JavaScript files and all of that? But we'll see once I spin up a new Livewire version 4 application, and then we're going to look at the structure together. So until next time, I've been Ola. If you liked this quick review on the changes, let me know. Do well to leave a like. It really helps the algorithm, and then you can see another of my video. Let me know what you thought in the comments below on these changes. Are you going to be excited for Livewire 4 as I am? Please let me know in the comments. If I missed something you think that is important or essential or crucial, also let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.